My name is Helen Scott, 32 years old, a freelance photographer who pays her own way. My parents, though, always want a piece of my success. At my father's birthday party, they pulled me aside. "We need $139,000 for our new business." My father said, his voice heavy like I had no choice. I said no, sharp and clear. His face hardened. My mother's lips curled into a smug smile that set my nerves on edge. An hour later, I caught my father by my work table, gripping my $4,500 laptop loaded with client projects I couldn't lose. "Oh, sorry," he said, smirking as he let it slip into the koi pond in the yard. Water swallowed it, the screen going black. "It's just an accident." My mother chimed in, her tone fake, her eyes cold. The party kept buzzing, nobody noticing. My chest tightened, but I didn't scream or plead. I stared at the soaked laptop my work drowned and felt a switch flip, not rage, but a calm, focused plan forming. They thought they could destroy what I built and walk away. They were dead wrong. That night in my room, I didn't cry or call anyone. I opened my backup files and started plotting. They'd soon learn that every accident comes with a price. Do you believe a family could really go this far? Share your thoughts in the comments. I want to know what you'd do in my place. The morning after the party, I woke with a knot in my chest. That drowned laptop was my lifeline. I dragged it from my bag, plugged it into a charger, and held my breath. Nothing. The screen stayed dead. No hum, no light. That $4,500 machine held every shot for my biggest client project, a campaign that could net me 10 times that amount. Water had destroyed it all. My hands shook not from fear, but from a cold certainty my father didn't just drop it. He wanted it gone. I grabbed my phone and opened the banking app. Years ago, I'd set up a joint account with my parents for family emergencies, my money, not theirs. They'd dipped into it before, always with excuses. Not anymore. I froze their access with a few taps, my pulse steady. Then I logged into our shared cloud service where I stored project backups. They'd used it for their own files, leeching off my work. I revoked their permissions, locking them out for good. If they thought they could ruin my career and still touch my resources, they were in for a shock. By noon, my phone pinged with a text from Susan Blake, my old colleague from a photography studio. "Helen, your dad's emailing investors claiming you're his business partner," she wrote. My stomach twisted. He was leveraging my reputation to pitch his flimsy venture, the one he wanted my $139,000 for. Susan had seen an email he sent to a family friend boasting I was fully on board. I wasn't. Not even close. I called Susan, keeping my voice even. "He's lying," I said. "Can you get me those emails?" She agreed, her tone sharp. She'd always had my back. Susan wasn't just a friend. She knew the industry and could spot a con from a mile away. Her warning lit a fire in me. My father wasn't just sabotaging my work. He was stealing my name to scam people. Then my phone buzzed again, a group chat with family. My Aunt Virginia Lee typed, "Helen, you're being selfish. Your parents need support for their business." My cousin Ryan Peterson added, "It was an accident. Why blow it out of proportion?" Their words hit like a slap, but what hurt more was their blindness. My parents had crossed a line, and Virginia and Ryan were eating up their story. I pictured my father's smirk, my mother's fake sympathy, and felt my resolve harden. They weren't sorry. They were playing me. I didn't reply to the chat. Instead, I opened my backup drive, thanking my past self for saving project files elsewhere. The client campaign was safe, but the laptop's loss meant re-editing everything from scratch. Hours, maybe days of extra work loomed, and my deadline was brutal. Losing this contract could tank my reputation. I leaned back, staring at the hotel ceiling, my mind racing. My parents didn't just mess up, they were trying to break me. And now they were using my name to lure investors. I started an email to my client explaining the delay without airing family drama. My fingers paused, itching to fire off a message to my father, but I held back. Confronting him now would tip my hand. I needed evidence, hard proof of what he was doing. Susan's text was a start, but I had to be smarter. I opened my laptop's backup logs, checking for any files my parents might have accessed. Nothing yet, but I wasn't done digging. They'd underestimated me, and I'd make sure they paid for it. 2 days later, I was ready to fight back. Susan had promised to dig up the emails my father sent, and I needed to know how deep his lies ran. I called her that morning, my voice steady despite the anger simmering inside. "Susan, what happens if someone's using my identity to pitch a business?" I asked. Her answer was sharp. "It's fraud, Helen," she said. "You can sue, but you need hard evidence, emails, texts, anything proving he's lying about your role." Fraud. The word hit like a slap. My own father using my name to scam people. I opened my laptop, my fingers moving fast as I scoured my inbox. Susan had forwarded an email from Frank Morgan, a retired investor my parents had known for years. My father's message claimed I was leading the creative vision for his venture. My jaw tightened at the audacity. I'd never signed up for anything. Digging deeper, I found 2 more emails he'd accidentally copied me on each, pitching my full commitment to different investors. The lies were bold, crafted to make his shaky plan seem legit by leaning on my reputation. I switched to social media. On a Phoenix business forum my father had posted tagging me, "Helen Scott's driving our project with her photography expertise." The post had gained traction, dozens of likes, comments from local entrepreneurs, even shares. My blood boiled at the nerve. He was building a scam with my name as the cornerstone. I screenshot every post, every comment, organizing them in a folder labeled Evidence. My phone buzzed mid-afternoon. A text from my cousin Ryan Peterson. "Helen, are you really working with your dad on this?" His tone felt different, less certain than when he'd dismissed the laptop incident. I saw an opening. "No, Ryan," I texted back. "I'm not involved. Never was." A minute later, he sent a screenshot, a text from my father sent 3 weeks ago. "Helen's all in on this. It's a done deal." My pulse raced. Ryan's doubt was my leverage. I called Susan, sharing the screenshot. "This is huge," she said, her voice firm. "Keep collecting, but don't confront him yet." She was right. I went through old messages, finding a group chat from a month ago where my father had asked about my client list, claiming it was for networking. I'd ignored it then, but now it was clear he'd been targeting my contacts for his pitch. I saved those texts, my focus sharpening with every find. I spent hours cross-referencing emails and posts, piecing together my father's pattern. One email to Frank mentioned a joint presentation I'd supposedly designed. Another post claimed I'd secured a major client for his venture. Each lie piled on, but so did my resolve. I added every scrap to my folder, 18 screenshots, 4 emails, and Ryan's text by nightfall. It wasn't enough for a lawsuit yet, but it was a solid start. The next morning, I took my first step. With a folder brimming with evidence of my father's lies, I was ready to shut down his scam. I opened my laptop and crafted an email to Frank Morgan, the investor he'd targeted with false claims about my involvement. My fingers moved deliberately, each word chosen with precision. "Dear Mr. Morgan, I wrote I have no connection to my father's business venture. His claims of my partnership are entirely false. I've never agreed to any collaboration, and I'm addressing this misuse of my name." I attached 3 screenshots from his business forum posts, each one falsely boasting my creative leadership. My chest tightened, not from doubt, but from the weight of standing my ground. I hit send, a surge of clarity washing over me. Next, I turned to the banking portal. I'd frozen my parents' access to our joint account days ago, but that was just a stopgap. Now I needed to sever their access for good. The account held $12.300 every cent earned through my photography, not theirs. I transferred the full amount to my personal account, then initiated the process to close the joint one permanently. The bank's confirmation email arrived minutes later, and I exhaled, a heavy tension in my shoulders easing. They'd never touch my money again. By noon, my phone lit up with a text from my father. "What's this garbage you're telling Frank?" It read, his tone seething. "You're ruining everything." Another message followed. "Fix this now, Helen, or you'll regret it." My fingers gripped the phone, my calm tested but unbroken. He wasn't apologizing for the laptop or the lies, just lashing out because I'd dared to fight back. I didn't respond. Let him rage. Then my mother's name flashed on my screen, the phone ringing 6 times. I let it go to voicemail, bracing for her tactics. When I played it, her voice was soft, almost pleading, but dripping with manipulation. "Helen, honey, you're hurting your dad so much," she said. "We're family. Why are you turning against us?" My stomach churned at her words. Not because I believed her, but because she thought guilt could pull me back in. I deleted the voicemail, my determination solidifying. I checked my email again. Frank had responded. "Thank you for clarifying, Helen. I'll need to reassess my involvement." It wasn't a full victory, but it was progress. My father's scheme was starting to crumble. I spent the afternoon securing my client project files, uploading them to a new private cloud service my parents couldn't touch. I double-checked my backups, ensuring no more accidents could derail my work. My parents had underestimated me, thinking they could bully me into submission. They were wrong, and I was just getting started. That evening, I sat at my desk reviewing my next steps. Susan had promised to connect me with her lawyer friend, and I needed to be ready for whatever came next. My father's texts and my mother's call had only fueled my focus. They'd crossed too many lines, and I wasn't going to let them drag me down. I opened my laptop again, drafting notes for the lawyer dates, screenshots, and a timeline of their lies. My parents thought they could exploit me and walk away unscathed. They were about to learn otherwise. 3 days later, I escalated my fight. Susan Blake's lawyer friend Emily Carter had helped me craft a cease and desist letter, a legal warning to stop my parents from using my name. I sat at my kitchen table reviewing the document one last time. It was concise, but firm. "Cease all use of Helen Scott's name in connection with your business ventures. Evidence of false claims is attached." The dossier, 20 screenshots, 5 emails, and Ryan's text was ready. I sent copies to my father, my mother, and Frank Morgan, my fingers steady despite the knot of nerves in my gut. This wasn't just a letter. It was a line in the sand. By mid-afternoon, my phone lit up with a notification. My father had taken to the Phoenix Business Forum again, but this time it was vicious. "Helen Scott's trying to ruin my reputation with lies," he posted, framing me as a spiteful daughter, sabotaging his honest project. The post had 15 likes and a string of comments. Some called me ungrateful, others questioned my professionalism. My breath hitched, a surge of anger mixing with disbelief. He wasn't just dodging accountability, he was attacking me publicly. I captured the post in a screenshot, adding it to my growing evidence file, my focus sharpening with every word I read. Then my phone buzzed again. A message from my cousin Ryan Peterson. "Helen, you need to see this." He sent a screenshot of a text from my father dated the night of the family party, tossed her camera in the pool. "She'll think twice before defying us." My heart jolted, not from surprise, but from the cold confirmation of his intent. This wasn't an accident, it was sabotage. I texted Ryan back, "This is huge. Thank you." His reply came fast. "I should have believed you sooner." Ryan's support felt like a lifeline in the chaos. I checked the family group chat, expecting a message from my Aunt Virginia Lee. She'd been quick to criticize me before calling my reaction to the laptop incident dramatic. Now there was nothing, just silence. Maybe Ryan had shared the text with her, or maybe she'd seen my father's post and started questioning his story. Her quiet withdrawal felt like a shift, a crack in the family's united front. I spent the evening organizing my evidence, adding my father's slanderous post and Ryan's screenshot to the dossier. Susan called, her voice calm but urgent. "That post could hurt him more than you," she said. Document everything and don't engage online. I agreed, my mind racing with next steps. I reviewed the cease and desist letter again, ensuring every detail was ironclad. Emily had included a warning about potential legal action if they didn't comply, and I felt a flicker of empowerment. My parents had underestimated me, but I was done letting them control the narrative. I opened my laptop, pulling up my client contracts to double-check their security. My photography business was my lifeline, and I couldn't risk another accident. I moved all my files to a new encrypted cloud service, setting up two-factor authentication. Every step felt like reclaiming a piece of myself. My father's lies and my mother's silence had pushed me to this point, but I wasn't backing down. The dossier was my shield, and I was ready to protect what was mine. A week later, the consequences hit. My cease and desist letter had landed hard, and Frank Morgan's response came first. His email was direct. "Helen, your evidence is clear. I'm out of your father's venture, and I've advised others to do the same." A wave of relief washed over me, sharp and grounding. My father's house of lies was collapsing, and I'd lit the fuse. Susan called that afternoon, her voice buzzing with news. 3 more investors bailed, she said. "Your father's project is dead in the water." The Phoenix Business Forum, once his platform for boasting, was now a graveyard of his reputation. His post slandering me had been flagged and removed, replaced by threads questioning his credibility. I scrolled through them, noting the shift in tone. People weren't buying his story anymore. A quiet thrill coursed through me, not for his failure, but for the truth breaking through. The family dynamic was shifting too. Ryan Peterson texted me, "Virginia's done defending your parents. Nobody's on their side now." I read his words twice, a mix of vindication and exhaustion settling in. Virginia Lee, who'd once scolded me for overreacting, had gone silent. Whether it was Ryan's screenshot of my father's confession or the investor's withdrawal, her retreat felt like a fracture in the family's loyalty. I didn't need their approval, but their distance from my parents was a small win. I learned from a mutual friend that my father and mother were spiraling financially. Without investor funds, their venture had no lifeline. The joint account I'd closed left them with nothing to fall back on, and their lavish spending habits were catching up. They'd been banking on my money to float their scam, and now they were scrambling to cover basic expenses. I didn't revel in their struggle, but a steady resolve anchored me. Their choices had led them here, not mine. Meanwhile, my career was soaring. After weeks of talks, I signed a $300,000 contract with a national magazine for their spring campaign. The deal was sealed over a video call, the editor raving about my unique vision. I sat back, a genuine smile breaking through as I wired the $50,000 advance to my personal account. This was my victory, built on my work, my name untarnished by my parents' schemes. I spent the evening sketching out plans for the campaign, mapping shoots across Phoenix's deserts. My parents had tried to drag me down, but I was rising higher than ever. Months later, I drew my final line. My father and mother kept trying to reach me, texts, pleading for talks, voicemails cloaked in guilt, even a handwritten letter slipped under my door. I blocked their numbers, deleted their messages unheard, and tossed the letter in the trash unopened. Their betrayal, using my name, destroying my camera, slandering me online, left no room for reconciliation. I wasn't bitter. I was resolute, my decision a fortress around my peace. In my Phoenix studio, surrounded by framed photos from my latest shoots, I reflected on my journey. Family ties don't justify exploitation. Setting boundaries, even with parents, is about safeguarding your worth. I'd learned this the hard way through lies and sabotage, but it made me stronger. I wrote in my journal, "Never let loyalty blind you to manipulation. Protect yourself first, always." These words were my anchor, a lesson I'd carry forward and maybe share someday to help others facing similar battles. My parents were sinking deeper into their consequences. A neighbor mentioned they'd sold their car to cover debts, their once grand lifestyle now confined to a cramped rental. The family had fully turned away Virginia Lee once their loudest offender hadn't contacted them in months. Their isolation was stark, a mirror of their choices. I didn't linger on their plight. My focus was on building, not dwelling. My career was soaring higher than ever. The $300,000 magazine contract had sparked new opportunities, a gallery exhibition in Scottsdale and a tourism campaign for Arizona's canyons. I hired an assistant, Sarah Nguyen, to handle my packed schedule, my days buzzing with shoots and client meetings. My bank account reflected my success with steady deposits from new projects. Standing in my studio reviewing a vibrant desert photo, I felt a deep pride swell. This was my life, built on my terms, untouchable by my parents' schemes. I closed my journal, my resolve unshakable. Their betrayal had pushed me to redefine family, to value myself above guilt. While my parents faced the wreckage of their actions, I was thriving, my future bright and unyielding. I'd emerged not just intact, but unstoppable, a testament to my own strength.